You wake upon the shores of an inky expanse. The sea of ink. In the dark ahead of you, a speck blinks a light and pulses as you move deeper into the void. As you reach to touch it, it inscribes strange glyphs into the air, some unknown language. The light begins to surge, growing brighter and brighter until all you can see is light, and then gone. A moment later, it blinks a light by your side, bound to you.
So, I threw them into the sea and said, that's how you raise a child! Maybe this is the one, Nib.
Then the poor soul is a needless. You know as well as I that they are unable to speak or to bind.
But they've bound a new quill! Author knows they don't like those needless very much, so something has to be going on.
That makes no sense. These stories have been fading long before more quills started showing up. Best leave the needless to fall right back into the sea where they came.
Aww, why don't we at least let them choose their aspect and forms first? It'd be a shame to not even see what they choose to be. You! Needless! Looks like you're not dead yet, so that's a good sign. And the form you chose is wonderful!
Yes, you've bound a quill. Quite unusual. It seems the ink has plans for you.
Oh, yes, it does. You've already performed bindings and everything. Quite the spectacle it was.
Yes, a needless and a binder. Well, the Guardian ahead will not be as kind. Should you defeat it, perhaps you and your quill truly are fated for something grander than the sea.
Or not.
Well, it seems you're a binder of some strength. Though you will continue to find these anomalies spread throughout our worlds.
They're taking all the ink away from us, making our stories fade away. Bad little unraveled. Bad.
For now, though, it's time you leave this place and venture to the Athenium, the center and stronghold for all these worlds.
They don't like us much in there, so best if we say our goodbyes for now. But don't you worry, we'll see you soon.
The ink is not yet finished with you, Needless. Your form is young and still without purpose, but trust in your quill and you may just find it.
You appear inside a cavernous hall, packed with emptiness, but full of stories. A massive clock of books and gears looms above the expanse, tick, tick, ticking away. From the countless black depths, damp breezes moan to life and stir the pages strewn about the rubble. Your quill urges you deeper into the cavernous space.
Arthur be damned, another one. All you needless just traipse in here, still damp from the sea from which you crawled. I thought that surely the Inkbound had created you with more sense than that. Yet you all continue to surprise me. Well, you're in the Athenium now, Needless. And no binder worth their words is going to give you unfettered access to our stories without a proper proving. A short dive into the inkwell should give us a good idea of you. And at the very least, knock a little sense into that empty head. Try not to drown too quickly.
The source of the ticking. A giant wheel of books and gears which all paths lead to. The heart of the Athenium.
Don't you touch that bindery, Needless, or your next dive into the inkwell will be your last. If even one book shifts out of place, the worlds to which you travel might collapse entirely.
Not a heart, then. A brain. You peer down the well, but only find an open darkness swallowed by an endless deep. If you strain to listen, you believe you can hear the faint rumble of rushing liquid. The shelves are lined with books of all sizes and materials. Gilded leather tomes stamped with dry facts of history. Feathery parchments filled with flowery script. Poetry ready to evaporate with a stiff breath. But all of them share the same sickness. Their pages are fading. The words within them becoming shadows of a memory of a story.
It's this way. Ha! Another Needless. Always a welcome sight to see another one of you running around our worlds. You are the ones doing the hard work, after all. Oh, the Inkbound is trying, I'm sure. But you are the ones actually fighting those villains. Nasty creatures. But you'll see that soon enough. Oh, and you can call me the Scribe. But honestly, it's best you keep our meeting between us. Not that you could tell anyone, even if you wanted to. Sorry.
The sea of ink laps against the straight-edge blocks you walk along. You're back, again. But it's not quite the same sea, is it? You can make out the edges of stories just beyond the horizon. No, there's intent and form here. A putrid place of rot and decay. Once a lush respite from the business of the Athenium that's since been reduced to waste. If any story should serve as a herald of things to come from this blight, this Vengewood is surely it.
Nice job with those unraveled so far. But you ain't lived until you fought a raven as big as a house. Though you probably have a lot more holes in you once you do, huh? Welly well, you're a shiny new needless, aren't you? Got a quill and everything. Bet you got quillins to spare too, huh? Well, be buying or be moving. This place ain't kind to idlers.
You not dry? If you're to be counted amongst our ranks, at least wipe your feet. Ah, be damned. This Athenian will drown in the filth you track in well before the sea takes us. Be grateful the Inkbound places more faith in you than do I. Since you've decided to return, you'll find a few more of us that remain here. The unraveled left us thin in numbers. We scattered after, but many have begun to return. You were made to serve, needless. So, meet the other binders of the Athenium and help them in whatever meager ways you can. Hurry, then.
Oh, well, hello. I'm the counselor. Used to be a lot more of us. Counselors, that is. And everyone else, I guess. But just me now. Well, just me now, make the rules around here. More like laws, I guess. It's a bit complicated. Mostly it just means that I record things that people do. Other people. Which reminds me, I've got a list of specific things I need done on the board behind me. Changes day to day, but if you're free and you don't mind, any help you give would be, helpful.
Well, it's nice to be back again so fast, even if the place is a wreck. But the sight of all you needless buzzing around does give me a bit of hope. Surprised to hear we aren't as gruff as Grumpybeard, huh? Well, sometimes a little youth goes a long way. You can call me the Stigmatist, craftswoman of forms and aspects. If you're looking to mix up your aspect, I'm your gal. Though it looks like you've got a solid one already. But if you ever do want to switch it up, go ahead and use that aspect apparatus over there. Got a couple other aspects for you to try out if you're feeling up to it.
You hear passing pages and manic mutters behind the door. Candlelight flickers at the bottom of the doorframe. You knock on the door and immediately the muttering stops. Then, shadows shuffle across the flickering light before it goes dark.
Ignored by the Inkbound? Well, that's no real surprise. Your presence is at least known now. But that does not mean that there is any more hope for the larger threat to us all. I can tell by your vacant expression that you've no clue who this Inkbound is. Only our chosen hero, our fearless leader, and most trusted protector, our savior. While you and your quill gallivant through the worlds to achieve some temporary victory, the Inkbound toils away at a more permanent solution to these unraveled and off-fading stories. Regrettably, there is still work to be done, thus your creation. The Garden's Edge currently fades fastest. Your attention should be focused there to reclaim its ink for us.
I can smell the ink on you, Needless. Busy cleaning up the messes of other less responsible binders, I gather. The Inkbound? Oh, yes. Their mess much more than others, I suppose. Not that they'd be one to ever own that burden.
Underneath the brush, you can make out the remnants of a once well-manicured garden that's been lost to time and neglect. The overgrown forest that towers over you now retains some of that stillness, but none of the peace, only danger and hostility.
Something more Sitharist might be too subtle. I said pretty, not poisonous. I understand a single word leaves room for interpretation, little Quill. But do try to focus on the intent of it all. As for you, dear Needless, you may be born quiet, but that does not give you the right to sneak up on an old woman. You do have a quill to chirp for you, after all. Yes, you little one. It takes a binder and a quill to do anything of note in these worlds, last I checked. You've already got the quill. So I suppose that makes you a binder, Needless. Able to channel the ink to write whatever you desire. Or so they say.
Back already? Guess that Unbound is losing their touch. Oh, did a new name for you? Well, ink's out of the pen now, Needless. Your big bad's got a name. And a pretty stupid one at that. Well, be buying or be moving, Needless. Got enough to do without your gawking.
Ah, I'm sorry. There I was, going on about forms and aspects, and you likely have no inkling clue what they are. Well, your form is your look, of course. You look great already, I'll admit, but there's no shame in ever wanting to mix things up. Aspects, though, they're the real thrillers, distilled essences of lost binders. You might not be able to create new bindings on your own, Needless, but these aspects will give you a class of bindings uniquely suited to whatever dangers you're facing. I know it's a bit hard to understand just by talking about it, so go ahead and take a peek at that aspect apparatus and reform enclosure over there. Lots of potential, right? Lots of power, too, in the right hands. Now, I can't just go inscribing new aspects on just anyone, even if I did have them. Got to know they can handle it first. So if you can show me you're worth the ink, I'll make sure those aspects are right and ready. Well, that attitude sure is a good start, but you'll be needing to prove it to more than just me. Go on, see if you can wrangle those missing aspects from the others.
Well, Needless. I do hope you've been treating the bindery with the respect it deserves. Without it, the Athenium would truly be lost to the sea. Thus, the Inkbound's duty in protecting it. The empty pool behind me, the repository, shares equal importance to our survival. It is the receptacle for returning our lost ink and feeds into the bindery to sustain the life of the stories anchored in it. I tell you all of this, Needless, not out of some sense of binderly camaraderie, but for the sole purpose of your understanding the consequences should you decide to tamper with artifacts beyond your comprehension. In other words, hands off.
Thought you were someone else for a second. I'm so sorry, little Quill. I can't understand your letterings. But given that determined expression on your binder's face, I imagine you're looking for aspects. The clairvoyant is the only one I've encountered in my wanderings, and even she has been missing for some time. The book she last called home has become, well, a cesspool of darkness and villainy. But that does not mean all is lost. I'd wager the best place to start looking is the Silent Promenade. I have a friend there, a, Quill of some power. Find them, and they'll set you on your way.
The promenade sits empty as it has for ages, the last remnants of the silent city.
Needless! Needless! We've waited so long for you. While you've been off saving the world, we've been making a list of things for you to do.
Yes, it's all very exciting, but we really can't understate the importance of these tasks.
Meet some, defeat others. Just follow these tasks, and you'll be on your way. To what, though? We don't really know.
If you truly are something to the Ink, these should be of little effort to you, Needless. And perhaps some purpose may make itself known in the process.
The familiar sight of Oon within the vast expanse of the Sea of Ink bleeds together with the fragments of story this villain hails from to create an altogether unsettling place. The villain's lair. A dank and mutilated place coupled together by the sheer power of the unbound, residing in some unknown section of the sea. There is no story here, no intent, only chaos.
You are noticeably drier than someone with your propensity for diving into the inkwell time and time again. Have you finally realized your inconsequential role within this struggle? Or, Ink, save me, have you finally learned some manners? Perhaps there is hope for you yet, Needless. The tiniest and most infinitesimally small sliver of hope.
You're causing quite the stir in here, Needless. Haven't seen this much commotion since the Inkbound decided to shut themselves in. Man, you should have seen old Graybeard. He went all first age on everyone. Silent but brutal. Well, some call me the Troubadour, but my friends call me Sundance. You can call me either, depending on how you're feeling about me at the time. Got the name since folks like to hear me play music from time to time. Been a bit hard to do without my old girl Petunia, though. You find her lying around, you bring her straight back, you hear?
If you need something tinkered with, let me know. But since I know you don't, leave me alone. Don't you have other things to do? Oh, it's wonderful to be back here. It's been too long since we've smelled fresh ink and musty parchment, eh, brother? Oh, he's a quiet one, he is, which means I'm left to run my mouth. But I'm not complaining. Oh, well, I assume it's all the bright little baubles that brought you over, eh? Can't say I blame you, though it's kind of the point. Oh.